Our brains are great at creating stories that create stress, or they can also create stories that propel us. Let's chat. Please like and subscribe the podcast and join me on Instagram with Live Brighter with Tara or at my website, which is livebrighter.info. So a few episodes ago, we talked about de-weaponizing our past. And that was really de-weaponizing our past stories that we use against ourselves. And then just recently, we talked about future tripping, how we can easily get in this spiral of future projecting worst case scenarios and how that all works and how we can lower that and not do that so much. And now we're talking about how to use our brains to create a better future. So I want to start with this story, a true story. 14 years ago, I was being driven to the psych ward for the second time in my life, and I felt trapped in a marriage with destructive patterns. At the time, I didn't have the words, but I felt like I was walking on eggshells, blamed and punished by being ignored. I had 4 children, and I was off to the psych ward, confused and sad. I already had a bipolar diagnosis, which further demonstrated that it was all in my head and it was my fault. It was hard to believe that I had a hope and a future, but I did have God. With my weak faith, it wasn't that strong at that point. With my weak faith and my open mind, I allowed myself to dream, just a little seed. What would a healthy relationship look like? What would it feel like? I really didn't know this, but it felt safe. And that was a little seed that I started envisioning to create and motivate me to change my life. So let's fast forward. I know what I couldn't verbalize at the time is that I was experiencing stonewalling, criticism, and narcissistic behavior. And now I'm not considered bipolar because understanding how mental health works and all of that, but I was very stressed and having mental challenges. I was in fight or flight, and my body and mind were responding the way our bodies and minds do when we ignore their messages regularly. And I was overly kind, which was the real foundation that really allowed myself to be in this situation. And the change, again, all started with that seed of hope. I was overly kind, but visualizing a different future was amazing. And now I've co-created a beautiful relationship with my husband, Mike, that feels like home. A business that I love and offers a lot of financial benefits and wonderful relationships with my 4 children, which was really important to me. But I almost lost myself. And the change in me really started with a seed of hope, a seed that was different, a seed of a future that was different, and then moving forward. So in order to dream and allow these seeds to grow, we first of all, number 1, we have to be willing to dream. And I have to be honest, there were times in my life that I could not even dream or imagine anything different. I was very stuck in my thinking. And so being willing to dream again and allowing ourselves to dream and being really compelled that this is something that's super important for who we are as people, because everything starts with a dream. And really bringing in the power of visualizing and allowing hope to cultivate. One way I cultivate this is, a couple ways, is how do I see myself in 7 years? And really get a very clear idea of how I would want that person to be, act, feel, and become. And like, what does she look like? What does she act like? And what advice does she have for me now? So that's one way I use visualization of the future to help me. Another one is asking myself, if I'm not limited by time, money, kids, or anything, what would be in my heart to do? What lights me up? What is in there? And that's another way to create space to allow those dreams to start to cultivate. Our emotional cups can get full without us really even being aware of it. But when our emotional cups get full, we can react rather than respond. We can be fatigued. We can feel burdened, we have struggle with sleep, we can have physical symptoms. And that's why I have the free barf notebook page for you. And it's a simple process done regularly where you're barfing out your thoughts, sorting them out, and planning them out. And it's a wealth of healing in that. So go ahead and check the link and have access to that free barf notebook process. Live brighter every day. So that's the first thing, is be willing to dream. The second one is tap into the emotion. Because really when we're dreaming and where we want to go, there's an emotion that's part of it. For me, in my vision, it was a peace with myself, a peace in the relationship, and a home feeling. And so just tapping into the relationship really can be activating for us on the next few steps. So tapping into the emotion. The third one is really growing that seed. Make room for time to do this. One of the things I do is I have my Zen den. And then that is what I call, it's actually a space in my closet that has my nice big bean bag and my wonderful essential oils and a beautiful light and my Bible and journal. And I just create that space and I allow that to be a place where I can dream and allow myself to dream and really connect with God and Source about that. Another way that I grow it within me is once I have a dream and a visualization, I'll do a voice memo in my phone and just allow myself to kind of decorate as far as that visualization and give it some color and feeling and what am I doing, and just create some life to it. And I'll play that for myself and do that regularly. But there's lots of ways to grow our dreams. The first thing is, again, we have to watch our brains because we have the lifeguard part of our brain. And remember, that's the part that's designed to keep us safe. And so anytime we start dreaming bigger or beyond our circumstances, it does a little freak out session. And the freak out session is like, oh, it'll criticize and critique you. It'll be like, oh, you shouldn't do that, whatever. There's lots of different ways, but that's just the lifeguard part of your brain. And so you just say to the lifeguard, I see what you're doing. You're trying to keep me safe, and I'm allowed to do this. And it's great to cultivate what God and Source and Universe has put in me. And that's a good thing to do. And how I'm designed. It's great to cultivate that. So that's the third thing, is to grow it. The fourth thing is to take ownership of it step by step and take small actions. Because the truth is, nobody is going to come and save you. Nobody's going to come and save me. If we're going to change anything, we have to be the change. We have to start taking the steps. And honestly, when I started having like a dream and a vision of a healthy relationship, then I started just a little bit studying it and opening my mind to new ways of looking at it, just step by step. And then clarity just comes. So really just taking ownership and putting action to it. I love some wise people that have talked about this topic that we're discussing. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And then I like Oprah Winfrey. She says, "You become what you believe." And that's so true. So we got to allow ourselves to believe good things, believe our potential, believe that God created you to do something amazing, however that looks. And it all looks differently. Walt Disney, another great visionary, says if you can dream it, you can do it. But it all starts with allowing yourself to dream, cultivating it, growing it, and also making sure the lifeguard part of our brain isn't squashing it or other people, and really just growing it yourself. I like what Thomas Edison said. He said, "Vision without execution is just hallucination." And that cracks me up. But the truth is, it's so important to start with the vision and the dreams, but just starting to take that small steps. That is what creates reality. And then another great one is Albert Einstein. Imagination is everything. It's the preview of the life's coming attractions. That is really cool. And another one that I really like from the Bible, if you look up Proverbs 31 in the Bible, it's about this amazing woman. And growing up in the Christian community, I was like, and this woman in this just intimidated the heck out of me. And I just have read Proverbs 31 over and over with just a fascination. And one thing that she says is that she smiles at the future. And I thought that was really interesting. And she smiles at the future because she's envisioned it and she's created it step by step. And I have to be honest, there were a lot of times that I did not smile at the future, and I still work to smile at the future, and I still do this. That's why I can talk about it, is because this is something that's important practice to me, and I'm still learning and growing every day. We're on this journey together. But we are all meant to be creators. We are made in God's image, Source's image, and that means that we are, replicating or, like God, who is the creator. So starting to create in our imagination is what we're designed to do. And it's so interesting how through the years I've squashed that at different times. So I just want to give you the freedom to start creating in your imagination, in your dreams. Start visualizing it. So again, the 4 steps needed to help in this area is be willing to dream is number 1. Number 2, tap into the emotion. What are you seeing, feeling, experiencing? Grow it. Take the time and energy to grow that dream. And 4th is to take ownership, one small step at a time. So I want you to just take a deep breath in, belly breath in, and breathe out. One more belly breath in and breathe out. And I want to ask you something. If you are not limited by time, money, or resources, what do you dream of? Now cultivate that seed 1% at a time. I believe in you. Make it a great day. Stay tuned for our next episode.